okay? And it's to open and grow the gifts that are in other people. Think of what is in you, what God has put in you, like a flower, okay? And I want you to imagine taking that flower and putting it into the ground. And then you come to it every day and you give it water and you sing to it and you watch it grow. And every day you see this flower grow and bloom and become more beautiful. And that's like what God puts in us, okay? So I want you to also think of a box in this, okay? And everybody has a box in them, okay? It's like a golden box, like a big treasure box, okay? And for everybody that has a box, there comes along somebody that has a key to that box, okay? Okay? So I'm gonna give you a key today, and we're gonna open the box, okay? Because you have a gift on your life, and it's a gift of prophecy. You said a lot of things to me that were right on in my heart, things you couldn't have known about me, and that's a gift from God. It's a prophetic gift, okay? So today we're going to open and we're going to have God grow that, bring the right people around to cultivate it. Do you know what the word cultivate means? Cultivate means to grow, okay? Okay. Lord, I thank you for Jenava, Lord, and I thank you for the gift that is on her life. Lord, I pray to put the right people around her to grow and to cultivate the gift of prophecy on her life. Lord, I pray that you put a hedge of protection around the innocence on her, Lord, and don't let that ever be broken. Don't let that bubble ever be busted. But Lord, let her keep that childlike innocence and that faith to follow you and believe you for whatever you put in her heart. Lord, I pray to protect her from negativity, Lord, to let that positive attitude in her life and that hope and that faith and that love in her never be quenched. But Lord, let it always be strong and go stronger in her. Lord, I thank you for I'm going to speak to you directly now, Jenava, to thank you for being open and for being honest and for being so forward with things. Like when God gives you a word, you go and give it to someone, and if you see that somebody needs prayer or somebody's not living right, that you're not afraid to go and talk to them, and that's very special. And a lot of people have trouble doing that, but you can do that. And so what happens when people have gifts like this is that the enemy doesn't like it, and he likes to try to squash it. But today I pray that God puts a hedge, like a protection around you. Think of it like a bubble. Have you seen The Wizard of Oz? Okay. Well, I want you to just think of a bubble around you, okay? And like it's a big bubble, and it protects you from bad things and bad words, like negative things that people would say and bad attitudes. And so it's like none of that will be able to get into you. And so no matter where you go, no matter what you do in life, that you will always be able to be hopeful and helpful and encouraging. And something else, another reason I told you about the keys in the boxes is because you have that same gift, is that you have in you a lot of, picture like you have a big box of keys, okay? And other people have boxes in them. So when you look at people, like you look at Lita, and you look at mommy, and you look at daddy, that same box that you have in you, they have in them. And part of the prophetic gift is, it's like a key. When you go to that person, when you tell them what God tells you, that's like putting a key in them and opening that box. And all the gifts that God has put in them can come out of them.
Cool.
So that's what I did to my auntie. I think I'm about to faint.
It's a very cool gift.
Yes.
I never knew anybody had that. I never knew anybody would share that story with me in the first place because I'm not really a perfect girl, you know. Not everybody's a perfect person, not anybody. And we're just human beings. We don't know what to do, like, at every time and every purpose. And what I'm trying to say is, in different groups, people can act differently in some advances to be very strong.
Yeah.
And we could be stronger than them by bringing power into them.
You're absolutely right. So I'm going to tell you two things, and I don't ever want you to forget it. One is, no matter where you go or who you talk to, always do what you feel is right. You know, sometimes when you're around someone and they're acting a certain way and you kind of want to get along with them, but you know it's not right to act the way that they act, always go with that.
Yeah, I remember last night, like, a teenager and a preteen were fighting with each other. I told them to stop. I really wanted to fight with them, but I knew it was right. And then my dad looked at me in the eye and he was like, "Where's toys?" I felt more mature in that moment. So I feel like my box has opened already.
It is open. It is open. You're very wise. Always just go with that. If
Well,
you know something's right to do, do it.
Charlie, sometimes I'm not wise. Sometimes other people are wise. For example, you're wiser than me because I don't know everything. You teach me stuff that I don't even know. And they have some keys in them that they have they're like prophets. They have provision from God. Do you know, adults like my grandma, they're the kind of people that are like prophets that tell people like Elijah or Elisha. They're kind of like the people that my grandma is, or my father, or my mother, or you. You're just like them. And what it is, I think that my seed is going to become to grow wiser and be just like Elisha or Elijah, and be just and be just like Moses. He chose the right choice, even though he was scared. He went to go and tell Pharaoh, "Let my people go in the name of Jesus." And he wouldn't do that, so God sent plagues. And when you have faith in Jesus, you grow like you're a weed. It wraps around the stick that God is.
You're very wise, Miss Jenava.
And once you wrap around them, you become stronger, just like Samson. The key to being stronger for him was his hair. But that's not the same thing for me. I don't have hair that makes me strong. The thing that makes me strong is being wise in my family and wise in my Jesus. And the way that it is right now, it's very crazy in life because we have lots of murders and stuff. But once you get to understand it, I don't know, but life is a very hard thing for you. You have to balance a stick into a whole life. Like, you have more than one stage. You have an infant stage, baby stage, toddler stage, child stage, teenager stage, adult stage, and elderly stage. It's not like you only have one stage, because all those stages have a key. It's the key of life. And that key of life brings you trust. But most of the things, the experiments that you have in life, like I just had, my key's growing bigger. It's growing bigger. And I already feel it.
Awesome, JJ.
That's not the end yet. There's more coming. Yeah, Grandpa. You too, buddy. I also want to share some stories if you mind, but this is one story that is true, and it's about the story of Esther. Esther was a wise woman. She was an orphan and a girl, and all she had was her cousin Mordecai. Once, there was a king that was looking for another wife since his wife was being rude to him and telling him the wrong things and trying to get him to do bad stuff.
Sure.
She was in a bad relationship and God, but the king wanted to grow into God, so he chose another one. And one day, he was in the middle of the streets looking out for a girl. And the girl was Esther. She looked him right into the eye, and she was like, that's maybe who God planned for me. And the next day, you know it, Mordecai went to a ceremony, and the king asked them to look for like a girl in their family that would be happy to be his wife. And the next day, Mordecai brings Esther dressed in beautiful cloth and a wise heart. And she had strength that she knew that he would be her husband because God told her what was true. So she went to her, the king, and she said, "Who do you think would be your wife? I would love to be your wife, but there's many other choices. It would be me if you ask." And then she walked away the next day after that day. That part was a little bit scary, but for the king, it was a hard decision. There was many beautiful women, you don't even know how much they were. But they had something like a gift in them, like Charlie does. But this story is about Esther. And the day that the king married her was special because the day that she went in the room, a couple of months later, the day that she went in the room, Mordecai climbed up a line from the ground to the top of the castle, and he said, "You gotta do something about this. I got a message from you." He said, Haman is trying to plan to kill all the Jews, including you and me. And she said, "Okay, I'll do something about it." And she bawled in tears. She was crying, but she didn't know what to do until then. The king didn't get to have anybody in his throne room, or even Queen Esther. She couldn't be there. So a couple of months after that, she couldn't be in his room. She went and said, "There's something terrible I have to tell you." And she said, "Haman's doing a big revenge plan to bring out all the people and kill all the people that are Jews and Hebrews and all those people. He's planning to kill me even and Mordecai." And when the king found about that and thought about that for a couple of days later, he threw Haman in the dungeon and made Mordecai his next advisor. And now the important thing about this is she didn't know what to do, remember? She had something to do. She was desperate about it. She didn't know what to do. So she had to think about something, and the something that she had to think about was very scary. Because, Haman was planning to wipe out her and her family, although she's been through a lot of other stuff that was harder than that. It was very sad, but the main thing that is, you gotta know that God is always holding her back. Just like Caleb and Joshua, they were bold and courageous. The meaning of those names are bold and courageous because they believed in God and did what was true. And also, that's what Esther was. Thank you for watching this. If you watch this, subscribe, please.